Hello again. Let's go over the new game mode called Exploitation. With a ton of new players joining us last week and a brand new game type for the beta test release, I figured I'd make a quick video explaining the rules of the Exploitation game mode. Just keep in mind that the game only recently entered beta testing and this is a brand new game type, so some of the things in this video may be tweaked a little in the future as the developers continue to balance the game out. Alright, so let's get right into it. Exploitation is a game mode where the irregular forces, al-Zalaam, must place caches on the map and defend them. Conventional forces must find those caches and destroy them. The win conditions and lose conditions of the game are on screen here. Conventional forces, meaning Rangers or Satyr, can win the match if they destroy 2 of the enemy caches or just 1 cache if the al-Zalaam team decided to only place 1. The irregular forces, meaning al-Zalaam, can win the match if they reach 100% influence, which starts at 0 and continues to accumulate as long as the caches are not destroyed. And both teams can also win the game if they eliminate enough opponents so that the other team's manpower hits 40%. Remember that your manpower is the total number of lives your team has, so if you ever lose 60% of your team's lives, you will lose the match. Now let me go over the influence points and cache placement for al-Zalaam. Al-Zalaam generates influence points based on their caches. When the game begins, conventional forces have to wait out the staging phase while al-Zalaam gets to enter the AO and place their caches. During the staging phase, al-Zalaam should be working out the best cache placement locations on the map. Only al-Zalaam squad leaders and the platoon commander can place caches, so squads should be separating to get these caches placed as quickly as possible. A circle around the AO will slowly fill up starting at the beginning of the match. Once the purple line around the circle goes fully around, caches can no longer be placed. At this point, the AO is considered closed, so squad should be moving quickly to get to the cache placement locations. When you get there, a squad leader or the platoon commander can press the 4 key and click the area on the ground where they want to place the cache. If an object is in the way, or you just can't place a cache in a certain spot for whatever reason, it'll give you a message telling you so. You can't place a cache too close to another one, the minimum distance should be 200 meters away, and you also can't place the cache too close to the edge of the AO. It must be placed within the inner 75% of the AO. Once the cache is placed, it will appear on the map with a circle around it. Now, this circle around the cache is the area of influence generation, and there are some specific rules around it. If any part of the cache circle leaves the AO, you won't get as many influence points as you would otherwise. So if you try to get a cache as close to the edge of the AO as you can, it will generate you fewer points. Also, if any part of the cache circle overlaps with another cache circle, it'll have the same effect. You want these cache circles to cover as much open space as possible, meaning if you want to generate as many influence points as fast as you possibly can, you should have these cache circles fully within the AO and not too close to your other caches. You can also choose to place 1, 2, or 3 caches. If you only place 1 cache, conventional forces will win the match if they destroy that cache. If you place 2 or 3 caches, conventional forces will win if they destroy 2 of them. So you have a decision to make as al-Zalaam here. You could place 1 cache and assign the entire platoon to defend it, but you'll generate influence more slowly. You can place 2 caches and make damn sure those 2 are not destroyed, and you'd gain a moderate level of influence, or you can maximize your influence gain by placing 3 caches, but then you may be stretching your platoon too thin because you'll want to defend all 3. So now let me go over how you play this game as the conventional forces. Your main goal is to find and destroy the caches, but finding the enemy will help you do so. If you're able to find al-Zalaam troops and down them, you can walk up to their body and collect intel. Stand over their body and look for a prompt to collect the intel. When you collect intel, it'll do one of 2 things. It'll either reveal a circle on your map and somewhere in that circle is the enemy cache, or if there's already a circle on your map for an enemy cache, it'll reduce the size of that circle so you narrow down the placement of the cache. So you don't want to be avoiding al-Zalaam and exploitation. When you do find a cache, they can only be destroyed with C4 or rocket launcher rounds. For the rockets, if you're the Rangers, you'd want to use the Carl G's HE rounds to destroy it, and if you're Satyr, you'll want to use the PG-7 RPG. Once you destroy 2 caches, or 1 if only 1 was placed, you'll win the match. And again, either team will lose if their manpower hits 40%. Remember, you can see your manpower and influence by pressing M and looking at the top right corner. That's pretty much it, but before we go, I want to talk a little bit about exploitation game strategies. I think the strategy for conventional forces is pretty straightforward. You need to hunt the enemy down and collect intel, which will help you find caches more quickly. But the strategy for al-Zalaam is a little more tricky because their playstyle might at first not seem like a good fit for a defensive strategy. Remember that as al-Zalaam you have certain advantages, and those are speed and ambushing. You do need to play defensively on this game type, but you should also be keeping in mind that al-Zalaam is better able than anyone else to get around enemy squads, hit them from the back or the sides, and break away from contact. So definitely do play defense, but at the same time, don't feel like you have to just place a cache somewhere on the map and then sit in that spot until the enemy comes to you. It may be a good strategy to sit and wait, but it can also go badly. In the game on screen here, we did decide to place caches and hold our ground because the conventional forces had no option but to cross the river to get to our 2 caches. So we decided we'd hold the river crossings. And by the way, we were unsuccessful and we lost this match. But I think it was overall a good strategy in the beginning to get the whole platoon organized watching the river. You do want to use the terrain of the AO to your advantage. But at the same time, you can organize your team so that some squads play more defensively and some squads are more on the front lines to harass the enemy and keep them pinned away from the caches or direct their attention elsewhere. Also keep in mind that if you are an al-Zalaam squad and you place a cache in a building, and then you set your entire squad defending that building, when the conventional forces eventually find you, they're going to be really suspicious of what's inside. So be sneaky with your caches and your positioning as al-Zalaam. And it is a good idea, of course, to make sure some al-Zalaam units always have a direct line of sight to wherever you did place the caches. But that's pretty much it. I hope this was helpful. If you still need to get the basic controls of the game down, I have a video on that. And if you're struggling with the communications in this game because it gets pretty chaotic sometimes, I also have a video that can help you manage your comms. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already if you're interested in seeing more Bellum content, and I will catch you out there in the AO.